With the commish, Nate.
I don't know why it never works. I gotta fix it. Anyway, welcome to Press Pass Live. I was checking my settings just make sure everybody could hear Maniac and I, and boy, it wasn't working. So I had to go to a scene that we don't want to use. Anyway, we are both sick. We are both beat up, but we are here. I appreciate Maniac making time. Buddy, you thawed out over there in West Texas?
Yeah, we were finally thawed out. It's been a different type of weather, man. I don't know. It's we're us Texans, we're used to the heat and stuff. We're not used to that water that freezes on top of the ground. So,
what up, Bill? What up, Daniel? Thank you for joining us. I apologize up front about the voice, but if you have been watching my streams, you already know this. It is getting better. It doesn't sound a whole lot better, and it doesn't last very long, and it makes me cough, but it is what it is. I appreciate Maniac being here. He's going to carry this thing with me one more time. Let's talk about week number 12. We're going to go 12, 13, 14, and then we're going to unpack some playoff races before we open up the mailbag, and then talk about our question of the day. Try to do something a little fun today. We got a game here in week number 12 between the Dolphins and Massimo and James, and the Jets come out on top 21-9. A nice victory there for James. My Saints come on top of Cincyburg. That didn't come out right. Come out on top. You know what I'm trying to say here. 33-30 against Cincyburg. Nice little win there at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Little Koch with a 35-28 victory in Buddy Bowl number 2 against his buddy Denbrew. Boy, I'm stumbling all over myself out here. Just keep me upright. That's all you got to do. Birdman with a 37-16 victory over Buffalo Bills, and Coach Joker Lost Sniper with a 31-0 victory over Tennessee. Trey with a 41-13 victory over Green Bay. I haven't seen old Trey in a couple of weeks. He popped in the stream the other day. It's good to see his name around and know that he's doing okay. Just really busy right now. Nipples with a 42-27 victory over Zoe. The Los Angeles Rams and D-Money with a 42-36 victory over your Arizona Cardinals. Tough loss there, but man, you battled him all the way to the very end. Meat Boy with a 23-0 victory over Nicesanger. Jay Bowles continues his red hot streak, 45-35 over Mr. Randy. I'm telling you, those Broncos are going to be a pain in the butt next year. Just wait and see. Kevin with a 38-28 victory over Bill in New York. Rod with a 24-13 victory over Bill. Colin with a 31-10 victory over Tim and his Lions. Dwayne continues to stay red hot. That team is so good. 23-16 victory over Twinkie. And then wrapping up week number 12 here, Big Hurt with a 27-17 victory over Roger. Those poor guys had to play this game 3 times. I watched it. I finally tapped out on the third one. I was like, I can't watch anymore. Maniac, what game you want to talk about here from week number 12?
Well, a lot of good games to look at here. Like you said, you're talking about Denver. They're going to be somebody to contend with in a season or two for sure before the cycle's over with. I'm going to give Kev and the Bucks some love here, though. We're going to talk about the Bucks and the Colts. If you look at the stats from this game, rushing was pretty much on par. Both teams were 100 yards, a little bit over 100 yards. Passing yards, though, that belonged to Kevin. Kevin dominates the airways normally. First downs were very similar and stuff. You're looking at the turnovers. Each team had 1 turnover. The red zone, though, 80% for the Bucks, 75 for the Colts. Time of possession, pretty close, the same, only 3-point advantage to the Bucks there. You're looking at the stats and the quarterbacks. Both quarterbacks had a decent day. Richardson had 2 touchdowns and an interception. St. Louis had 3 touchdowns and an interception, but he was a little bit better on the completion percentage, so not as many incomplete passes, so kept the chains moving there for them. Rushing, the only one that really stands out here is Taylor for the Colts. He had 87 yards. Everybody else sharing the ball there for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I find it interesting that the wide receiver here, the rookie got or the first round or the first year player, I'm sorry, was a rookie last year. Francisco, 2 carries, 14 yards and a touchdown. So yeah, he's a gadget guy for Mr.
He will
Mr.
run
Cav.
that wide receiver reverse in a second on you.
So he keeps you on your toes. And Francisco also had 9 catches, 165 yards, and a touchdown. McCullough doing McCullough things still. This guy was just an absolute beast of a weapon for Randy. And I don't think Bill in New York has quite figured out how to use him to the extent that Randy was using him, but still absolute beast. And we had a couple guys other than that get a couple touchdowns here and there. Warren, the tight end for the Colts, had 2 touchdowns in this game as well. Defense, I would always, for me, when I'm looking at defensive stats, if I see a lot of tackles for loss, that kind of almost excites me more than sacks and sometimes even interceptions, because if your guys are living in the backfield, you're doing something good. But 2 tackles for loss there for Williams. Simpson had 1, so it looked like the Colts had kind of the upper hand there with getting tackles in the backfield. The long sack belonged to Cansey. This guy, he's a beast. Every time I played him, it seemed like the last couple seasons or even the last couple Maddens, Kev usually has him as a beast, and he's just hard to stop. So, and Boner and Ward had a couple interceptions here. So Boner for the Bucks and Ward for the Colts here. So, but a good game though, nonetheless.
I'm sitting here talking on mute. I was muted so I don't cough while you're trying to talk. That Bonner kid, that middle linebacker, is really awesome. Not only leads his team in interceptions, but I just played him yesterday and he picked me off twice. Kevin has become a very good user middle linebacker. Let's look at week number 13. Browns and Broncos played in a really great one there. Little Koch comes out on top, 38-31 over Mr. Randy. Roger comes out with a 27-20 victory over James. D-Money with a 22-14 victory over Byron. Nipples with a 33-10 victory over Denbrew. Massimo with a 34-31 victory over Joker. Kevin and the Bucks with a 44-14 victory over Madden. What is his name? On Discord.
Simple.
Simple. Golly, it was like right there. I couldn't think of it. Kansas City, our guy Luca with a 38-17 victory over Lost Sniper. That's a big time victory there. Meek with a 41-10 victory over Colin. Your Arizona Cardinals stumbled on this one, 41-28 against Zoe. That was a tough game. Just kind of got away from you on the road. Washington continues his red hot season with a 27-14 victory over Cincyberg. Big Hurt continues to stay red hot, 23-20 over Jay Bowles, 26-13. That's Trey over Bill in New York. Trey continues to stay just absolutely on fire here in the second half. Nicehunger bounces back against Tim, who's really struggling this season, 28-27. And then finally, I know the score doesn't show, but man, I fought with everything I had against D. Wayne, 31-13. He beats me right there in New Orleans. What game here in week number 13 do you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. I think the one I want to talk about though is Jacksonville and the Raider game. I think that one I didn't get to watch it, but just from looking at the score, it looked like it was a nice one here. And sometimes just looking at the box score, you see it. Jacksonville and the Raiders both scored 3 points in the first quarter. Second quarter, both scored 7. Third quarter, both scored 3. So we had a tie ball game going into the fourth. But Jacksonville was able to put up 10 points there in the fourth quarter, as the Raiders were only able to put up 7. Your offensive stat breakdown here is offensive rushing yards 71 for the Raiders, 102 for the Jags. Passing yards 249 for the Raiders, 211 for the Jags. First downs were very comparable there for both teams. Turnovers, 3 turnovers for the Raiders, only 2 for the Jags. So again, you start looking at how close games were, and then you always see that stat. Usually there's that one turnover that benefits the winning team normally in those situations, and that's probably the case there. Red zone, though, I have to say, look like unless this is entirely off or whatever, but it says red zone percentage here was 80, but the Raiders held the Jags to only 3 field goals and a touchdown in the red zone, where they had a little bit better opportunity there with the 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals there. But I think with the Jaguars, with their running back they have, Tootin, he's always really good in the red zone and able to keep them to only 1 touchdown in the red zone. That game really could have went back the other way in that situation. So Peters was 2 touchdowns for 2 interceptions. Baker Mayfield 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions here. So looking at the sacks, both were sacked in this game. Rushing though, and Tootin looks like he was kind of held in check as well, with only 66 yards and no touchdowns. So big time stops there for the Raiders. Allen was able to get the touchdown, the long touchdown, rushing touchdown for the Jags, 6 for 43. Receiving, Bowers, the tight end, and always kind of like pause when I see that. Bowers for 5 interceptions, 5 receptions for 97 yards, 0 touchdowns. Brown had 2 receptions. Nelson had 4, and then Thornton. We've talked about this guy. He's leading the league in reception yards. He's leading the league with touchdown catches, and he was held to 2 catches, 37 yards. So that was impressive by the Jags defense. Defensive stats, I think the big stat here, again, we look at the tackles for loss. Lloyd, the middle linebacker for the Jags, had 3 tackles for a loss. And then the Will linebacker also had 3 tackles for a loss. So these guys were living in the backfield of the Raiders. They're kind of corralling everything. And they also, Lloyd had an interception as well for the Jags. Also, Buda Baker, ex-Cardinal, over there getting it done for the Jags with the interception.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. That tackle for loss one that you were talking about, Lloyd, Walker, and Hendricks. So his Mike, Will, and left edge all had 3 tackles for loss. That Jacksonville Jaguars defense is really getting it done. And well, guess what? I'm going to find out firsthand because I think that's exactly who I play next. Week number 14 is not completely finished, but Maniac, we're pretty close. Looks like the Jets and Bills are underway right now, so they're currently playing. But Colin came out on top of Nice-Unger 27-18. Looks like the Chargers and the Lions are currently also underway. Lost Sniper with a 42-38 victory over Roger. Ravens Steelers have not played, and I do not think are scheduled. So another couple guys that are MIA right now. Mr. Rod with a 34-28 victory over Twinkie. Excuse me, Luca, the 34-14 victory over Little Koch. It's a good game last night. Zoe with a 45-21 victory over Priest. They were able to run away with that one late. My Saints came out on top of Kevin's Bucks 20-10, and a good defensive battle there. Meat Boy with a 28-7 victory over Birdman. Didn't expect to see that, but Meat Boys really started to heat up here in the second half. D-Money with a 27-19 victory. I know you've lost twice, but boy, you gave him a fighter's punch there in both of those games, but he does come out on top 27-19. Dwayne, the 20-16 victory over Bill. Bill really making Dwayne earn that one. I almost sent Bill a message. I didn't, but boy, he made that quarterback for Dallas really struggle today. And that is pretty amazing because that guy is red hot right now. Big Hurt with a 40-23 victory over his buddy Cincyberg. And then wrap it up week number 14 here. We got our guy, Tennessee, with a 49-38 victory over Bill in New York. What game you want to talk about here in week number 14?
Yeah, I think that Tennessee game, if I looked at it properly, because I seen that score and I was like, what? Simple had really struggled to score any points, and I think it was a CPU Tennessee
There you
team.
go.
So, but they came to play 49 points for the CPU. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, a lot of good games. I mean, the league that we have a lot of good games. It seems like guys are in that part of the season right now where guys are really starting to kind of your team and what's working for your team. And I want to give some love to the Washington Commander. I should say Washington Redskins. Got to watch that. Washington Redskins and the Philadelphia Eagles. So they had a 34-28 game here. Offensive stats. We've seen the Commanders really put up a lot of rushing yards in here. He did the same, 177 yards on the ground, 121 for the Eagles, so not a bad situation there with the rushing attack. The offensive passing yards, though, dominated by the Commanders, 271-95. First downs, a little bit lopsided here towards the Commanders, 16-11. Turnovers, and you don't see any turnovers from the Eagles, and the Commanders had 2. So third down conversions, both had 3. Red zone, I always like looking at the red zone, and a lot of times that's a tail sign as well. 20% red zone percentage, only 1 touchdown for the Eagles, compared to 50% and 2 touchdowns for the Commanders. And even with all that, the stats being so lopsided with the passing attack, the Eagles were in this ball game and lose by a touchdown here. So, looking at the player stats, and we talked about it. Dixon did have 2 touchdown passes. He was 11-21, 52%. Daniels had 2 touchdowns and interception. Dixon was sacked 5 times on this game, so he was under duress. Looked like a lot in this game. The rushing, Meekins, 19 carries, 135 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then we had the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, Dixon, 4 carries, 78 yards, rushing. So most of his rushing attack came from the quarterback scrambles or design quarterback run. I don't know what exactly it was in this game, but nonetheless, he got him involved rushing the ball, and the guy is fast. So Jackson, 4 receptions, 147 yards, and a touchdown. McLaren, Scary Terry with a touchdown. And then Devontae Smith also had a touchdown for the Eagles. So Brown had a touchdown. Defense, since we were talking about all the sacks that showed that the Commanders had here. So we're going to look at Peterman, the rookie from Texas, a 6'4", 256-pound edge guy. Had a sack and a half here in this game. Cunningham, first-year guy, had a sack. Jackson had a sack as well from the defensive tackle spot. McGee, and then we had a couple guys have a half sack there. So, again, it looked like the quarterback was under duress, and maybe that's the reason why he had some actual rushing yards. He had to scramble out for his life a few times. So, interceptions all belong to the Eagle squad here. So, Daniels had one, and then Dean had one as well. So both those guys actually making a contribution on the defense side for the offensive output, getting the ball back for their offense. So, and then also Daniels did take his back for a pick 6. So good game though. Definitely Twinkie, not turning in the towel, keeps playing hard, and definitely had a good game here against the defending NFC champion. So
Yeah, he made him earn it too. That was really good to see both those teams not do great in the red zone, but also not get field goals out of it. So both teams playing some really great defense. And Twinkie, again, he's one of those guys that every season just improves a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. It's only a matter of time before he puts it all together. I hope he sticks with it because he is improving incrementally. We got a brand new OMFL news today, and so you seen Coach Joker join me last time. Tim Brew needs a little bit of a break this season, maybe this cycle. Hopefully he'll come back and make some more news. Who knows, maybe even Mr. Bono makes a comeback one day, but we got even a new one. So Joker and Coach Tim are going to spread the news a little bit here, and let's go over to Coach Tim for some OMFL news number 1.
Welcome to the OMFL News. This is Coach Tim filling in today. I hope you are warm wherever you may be. It has been cold this week. A few teams have not been cold are the Dallas Cowboys, winners of 10 straight, the whole NFC West, which looks like a juggernaut, and the Buccaneers and Saints, who have won 4 and 3 games in a row, respectively. Good job, guys. As far as teams that have been stuck in the deep freeze, they have been the Tennessee Titans, who have yet to get a win, the Minnesota Vikings, which Nysonger may regret switching back to his team, and despite hosting the NFC Championship game last year, the Detroit Lions look lost with a 2-9 record. Get it together, guys. Now back to Nate and Press Pass Live.
I appreciate Mr. Tim giving us some OMFL news. We're going to hear from him one more time. Maniac, you ready to look at some OMFL playoff races?
Let's do it, man.
Let's dig into it a little bit, buddy, here. A lot of playoff races to figure out. AFC North, a division that you and I talk about every single season, one that is filled with powerhouses. Man, this is a confusing one to wrap my head around this year. It looks like Nipples is running away with this one at 9-3. Everybody else in this division has a losing record. Do you see anybody else here competing for a wild card, or is this pretty much kind of wrapped up, said and done?
From what I see from the rest of the AFC, I think this is pretty much wrapped up and done. I think the Ravens are gonna go ahead and run the table probably, or at least lock up the AFC North for sure. I know there's always the variables or whatever, and Bill does a great job at throwing those out there with his graphics and stats and stuff, but I think this one's done. I think the Browns and Steelers and Bengals are all looking towards the draft, which the Browns have my first round. I want it back.
Well, technically, on paper, Browns, Steelers, excuse me, Bengals are all in it technically because your 2 wild card or 3 wild card spots are 9-3, 8-5, and 6-6. So far, it looks like a team with a losing record can get that last wild card spot. So we'll see. But I agree with you. I think Ravens and Nipples have this one sewed up. All those other teams are kind of playing for next year's run at it. AFC South, a division that has really taken a turn with Randy moving over to Denver. Jaguars with a 10-3 lead. And once again, we have another division with everybody else with a losing record. Colts at 6-7, Roger and his Texans at 6-7, Titans at 1-12. But Bill in New York at 6-7 has lost 6 in a row, unfortunately. Currently, on paper, the Colts do have the 7th seed, so the last wild card spot with the Texans still fighting for one of those positions at 6-7. Titans are one of the only teams that are already out of it. This one feels like another one pretty easy to read. Jaguars are in. Colts are fading. Texans are trying to hold on, but with a losing record, even in the AFC, doesn't seem like they're going to be able to get one. What do you think about the South?
Yeah, this is the Jags. I mean, unless he absolutely has an implosion of his team, has some injuries. I'm not going to try to put that voodoo on him, but um, it's his division. I mean, and I think looking at the Colts, he's lost 6 in a row. At one point he was 6-1, and that was even taken over. Randy left, I think, with the team. There was only like 3 games played, I think, in the season. So he'd actually played a few games in the season and done well with them. But I think the standings here, I think the Texans are going to be the number 2 team here, and I think he's going to be the one really pushing for a playoff spot. I think that just overall, I think Roger has played a lot better this season, and this is kind of the typical the way we've seen Roger the last few Maddens, where the last couple of cycles he puts things together and he really does a good job competing. And so I think the Texans are going to be the one here pushing for that number 2 spot and one of those wild card.
Jaguars are currently the number 2 seed at 9-3. Nipples and his Ravens at 9-3, the number 3 seed. The number 1 seed is the Raiders, sorry, at 10-3. So all of those teams still very much in the hunt, as well as the Patriots, which we'll talk about, and the Chargers, which we'll talk about, all still very much in the hunt for that number 1 seed. So the AFC a little bit more open-ended than the NFC when we get over there. AFC East, Patriots at 9-4. Jets at 4-8, Bills at 4-8, Dolphins at 3-10. Man, this AFC is a weird conference this year. This one again looks like it's all but sewed up. Technically, on paper, Jets. All of them. Jets, Bills, and Dolphins still technically on paper in the hunt, but I think like we've rinsed and repeated already twice, we'll do it a third time. This one's all the Patriots. I don't see the Jets or Bills being able to make a run, and Dolphins are 3-10, so it feels like it's over too.
Yeah, cue the fat lady here on this one. I think this one's for sure done. Lost Sniper's got the Patriots rolling. He always does a really good job building his teams. I know I was over in that division last Madden, and I always had to catch myself. That's the reason why I was using my hands, because I was always say like last season, but last Madden, and so the Lost Sniper really, I mean, rolling 9-4. Lost is just he's a good dude, and he does so much, and then on top of that, he is a good play caller, a great play caller, I would call him, especially on the offensive side of the ball. He may give up some yards and some points on the defensive side, but when he does, you better be prepared to score 55 points, because he's gonna at least score 50 himself. So that's just the way it is, and he's a great offensive mind.
Jets, Bills, Dolphins, all surprising to me. I really did expect all of those teams to play much better than what we've seen them here first season of all Madden. AFC West, wrapping up the AFC. AFC, I just got to let you know, Maniac's been talking all day about how great our games are here in the OMFL. And, well, these records are not showing you, but the AFC West, we actually got a little bit of a run here. You got the Raiders at 10-3, Trainers, Chargers at 9-3. Sharks making a little run here late in the season at 8-5. Randy, one of the few teams that are already out of it over there in Denver. I know that team wasn't built for him, but also feels a little bit like tank mode is happening. Let's go get some good draft picks and rebuild this team in my own image. On paper right now, it's going to be the Raiders are going to be the number 1 seed. The number 5 seed, so the first wild card, is going to be the Chargers. And the number 6 seed is going to be the second wild card, and that's going to be the Chiefs. So all 3 of these teams are currently in, and I pretty much think they're all going to be in. You got a 1-game lead there for the Chiefs in that wild card, and the Colts are fading really fast. What's going to be fun is what happens between Raiders and Chargers as they come to the end here. Raiders lose this week. Chargers on a 3-game winning streak. Chargers are making a run here. Do they overtake the Raiders? And then who gets that number 1 seed here in the AFC? Man, we got a fun race here in the West and for that number 1 seed.
Yeah, this one, mercy. I had a bubble coming up in my throat at the same time I was trying to talk. It was kind of weird.
Oh, I wish I had a bubble because my voice sounds terrible. What up, Simple? What up, Bird?
The Raiders have been one of the hottest teams this season.
Yeah.
I know he just had a loss, but it seems like he's been really close in every one of his games so far, and I think that speaks highly of his offense. I think at times he kind of has the same problem that a lot of us guys do, and just like when I talk about loss, he tends to give up a lot of points, but he will score 9 out of 10 times more than what you do, even though he may give up a good amount. So a very good offensive mind. Trey, though, he's getting hot, and this is the wrong time. If you're playing against Trey, this is the wrong time to be playing Trey because Trey is warming up and he's getting his playoff sprint shoes on and getting ready to make his run. So he's 9-3. I wouldn't be surprised to see him sneak in, take the top spot here and win this division. But I really think like you after looking at all the rest of the divisions in the AFC, I think you have to say that there's going to be 3 teams coming out of this division in the playoffs. So I think there's no doubt that last playoff spot, though, in the AFC is going to be interesting because that's going to come down to quite a few teams. Like we said, there's a lot of teams still in the hunt, which is kind of crazy, but it'll be interesting to see. So,
yep, it's going to be a really fun race to see who can actually win there in the AFC. Now let's talk about what arguably is the most powerhouse conference here in the OMFL, the NFC, and I think there's a mailbag question about it. This is the division no one wants to win, but everyone wants to win. The NFC North, you get Colin in the lead at 7-6, Packers and Priest at 5-8, Lions and Tim 2-10, and the Nice Hunger and his Vikings at 2-11. Currently on paper, it feels like the Lions, the Packers. Yep, Packers officially are out of it. So really, this was all about Colin. He has already won this division and wrapped it up, and everybody else is going home. Weird division here in the NFC North.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean that's Colin's done a good job, and I think he started out kind of rough.
Yeah.
But he's made a couple of trades mid-season that have really. I think he's got Myles Garrett now on his team. So, I mean, he was always like pretty tough on the defensive front. So now you got Myles Garrett, arguably in real life the best defensive player there is, and in Madden, not much different. Outtake, he's very good. 99 overall X factor. You add that to your defensive line, it's going to do it at least by marginal some help there somewhere. So I think he's built again a good squad. So he may be one of these ones that we look at and he gets in the playoffs. Like his record shows 7-6, and all of a sudden he's in the NFC Championship game. So that could very well be the case here. Uh, but I think, like you said, like this is the division where everybody wants to win it, and for the most part, this is the most vocal division of out
Oh,
of all the
you
divisions.
stole the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say the division that talks the most trash, and they show up with a 7-6, 5-8, 2-10, 2-11 records.
So they know how to keep it interesting, but
They do. They're entertaining guys.
Yeah. They've yet to put it all on the field yet. So, but
And the
they're
nicest
always
guy
tough.
out of all of them that talk no trash, he's going to win the division this one. We're just giving you guys a hard time. I love the trash talk. I love the engagement. But yeah, I'm looking for this division to turn things around a little bit. NFC North, you got the Buccaneers 8-5, Panthers 8-5, Saints 6-7, Falcons 4-9. My Saints are barely hanging on to just a thread of hope here, but this one's all about the Buccaneers in the division lead. They're currently the number 3 seed at 8-5. Panthers right behind them. They are currently fighting for a wild card spot. That's the crazy thing about the wild card NFC. The leaders currently in the wild card at 10-3, 9-4, 9-4. So figure that out. Panthers fighting for their lives, trying to get in, still alive at 8-5. What do you see happening here in the NFC South?
This is an interesting division here. Bucks, Panthers both tied 8-5, but also riding a 1-game losing streak here. Falcons, you never know. Cincy Bird, you think he's in tank mode, and then you play him, and then he like ends up putting 40 points on you. So it just you never know about the Falcons here at this point, but they're definitely out of it. Your Saints, though, I still think your Saints are one of the more intriguing teams because, again, I've said this before, and I know you've always like, I quit talking about my team, whatever, but your defense is playing really good, in my opinion, and you don't have as much, I think, on your defense as a lot of guys do, and you're still in your own division right now. You're allowing the least amount of points in your division. Your offense is still struggling. You still got young players here all over the place, and so I just think once your guys kind of mature, upgrade, or whatever, a little bit more. You got a young team, and I think you're going to be really good the last couple seasons in the cycle. So, but I think right now it's going to be hard for you to squeeze into the playoffs unless absolutely somebody completely has a complete malfunction here, injury, something. I mean, it could happen, but I definitely think that you're going to just kind of miss on the fringe here. But the Panthers and the Buccaneers. I was trying to say both teams at the same time. I was going to go the Buccaneers Panthers. But anyway, I think both these guys are probably going to end up making the playoffs. They're really good at what they do, and man, they're offensively. And then when they need to, they show up on defense, and I think that's what makes them different.
Yeah, I think the Panthers are going to win this division. It's going to be a really fun race coming down to the end. I do play the Buccaneers in week number 18, so that'll be a fun game to wrap things up. I do agree with you. I think I'm going to fall a little short. I did play with a backup quarterback for a majority of this season. I do have my starter back, though. He's playing some pretty good football. Our really only loss in the last couple of weeks has been Dwayne, and I think that loss showed me that just like you got to have playmakers, and I just don't have any. My best player on my team is 93 overall. A lot of guys have several 99 overall guys. And so, excuse me, you can see that there's just a talent gap between my team and a lot of these playoff teams. So I do think the Panthers are going to win this division. Buccaneers are going to take a wild card. It's going to be a really fun division. I can't wait to see what happens next year in this division. I think it's going to be a really fun one to see how it plays out. NFC East, got the Cowboys at 12-1. Boy, Dwayne has really come back this year with an absolute vengeance. The Commanders and Rod, he was the OMFL Bowl representative for the NFC last year. He's following it up with another 10-3 season. Bill and his Giants continue to build. Something about that offense that just kind of failed him this year. I do expect him to get that turned around. And then Twinkie, we've already talked about him, right there on the cusp, just not able to get over the hump. But man, he's making all these guys earn it whenever they play him. Right now, on paper, you got the 12-1 Dallas Cowboys and Dwayne. They're the number 1 seed. The number 5 seed is the Commanders at 10-3. Everybody else is already out of it. How do you see the NFC East playing out? I think the Cowboys take that number 1 seed. Commanders are going to take that top wild card. And good luck for anybody that's got to host the Commanders at their house.
Yeah, this is the Cowboys. I think he's got wrapped up. He's rattled off 12 straight wins after losing the opener, which is impressive. Anytime you win that many wins in a row, it's impressive. And Dwayne's so impressive. He's almost gotten to where it's like, it's just the monotony. It's like, oh, well, here goes Dwayne. 13, 14 wins. It's there, so it's be expected. The Commanders, he did have a little bit of slip up, I think, in the middle of the season, and it looked like he might falter a little bit, but he has really turned it on the last couple of weeks, and he's rattled off 3 straight. So I definitely think, without a doubt, the Cowboys here, I think he gets the number 1 spot in the NFC, and then the Commanders are going to be that top spot for the wild card. Which I think that would make let's see, if Dwayne gets this top seed, then probably D Money's going to be the 2nd seed. So it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it is a crazy division with a lot of really good teams. And you and I were talking about it a little earlier, but Faber for the Cowboys, when that guy is as on as he was when he played me, it's like, good luck. I mean, I play really good defense, and his running back, McMullen, still ran for like 128 yards, breaking 5 tackles on a play. Faber's 89% completion percentage, which is why Giants and Beal, what he did this past week was so impressive. Really was impressive, holding Faber under 200 yards. Let's talk about your division now. NFC West, Rams 11-2, 49ers 9-4, Cardinals 9-4, Seahawks 9-4. And I don't want you to play woe is me. You've had a great season. I know you've hit a stumbling block here as late. You've had an amazing season. Currently, on paper, D-Money, and the Rams have the number 2 seed at 11-2. The Cardinals, the number 6 seed at 9-4. 49ers and Zoe at 9-4. Those are the number 6 and 7 seeds. And then the Seahawks right on the outside looking in right now at 9-4. Can you imagine being tied for 2nd place in your division and you're outside the playoffs looking out? Man, the Seahawks, they are itching to get there. We've got a great division full of great owners. I'm going to go ahead and give my thoughts. I think the Rams win it. Of course, they got a 2-game lead with like 4 to play here, 3 to play here, whatever the number is, depending on who's played here in week number 14. Zoe is playing really good football. I don't know the schedules here of these teams. Your Cardinals, I know you've hit a rough skid here, but man, you've played such good football. I really look for you to turn things around. Meat Boy is scary hot right now. He is just playing really great football. 280 yards allowed, 379 yards. I think the Seahawks are going to sneak in and get a spot. I think your Cardinals hold on to the spot. Look for Zoe just to get tied and be left on the outside looking in. How do you see your own division playing out here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm trying to look at their schedules right quick. So Seahawks have the Rams, 49ers, Cowboys, and Packers left. Let's see. 49ers have Browns, Seahawks, Rams, and Bengals.
Dang, that's a tough
And then let's see, they got 2 or 3 really tough games left. I probably have the easier schedule out of the 2 because I have the Vikings, and I'm not saying anything about anybody else. It's just on paper the easier schedule: Vikings, Packers, Bengals and Browns.
I got to just say, that's the one thing I hate about being a commission this league and a content maker is like, you can't just talk. You got to we all got to give these disclaimers of like, I don't mean easy, like, easy. It's like, come on, we're just talking football. Okay. Look at the records. You get why he's saying easy. We get it.
Yeah. Because, any one of these guys could put an L on me. I mean, easily. So, but on paper, I do have the easier out of the group because I don't have any more division games.
Can you
All
say
my
the
division
49ers
games
Seahawks both one more time?
Yeah. So the 49ers have Seahawks and
Okay, big game there.
Rams.
Oof.
Seahawks and Rams left out of
So
the
that's
four.
tough.
And then the Seahawks kind of role reversal have the same situation, but they also throw in the Cowboys in that schedule.
Okay, I'm calling it out. Rams or Seahawks, 49ers, whichever one of you get in, you earned it, brothers. You have earned your way.
Absolutely. That's a rough schedule to end in a season on. I mean, Seahawks have the hardest out of everybody left. I mean, because he's got I didn't even look at the Rams, which, I mean, if you look at the Rams schedule, I'm taking a little bit more time than.
No, you're good.
He's got Seahawks, Ravens, 49ers, and Vikings. So that's a pretty tough schedule too for the Rams. So any one of those things could play into that. I mean, Colin beat the Rams 5 weeks ago, 34-31. So, I mean, anything's possible. That could happen. But realistically, though, like my remaining schedule is a little bit less daunting than these guys because just of the records that they're having to face against the number 1 and or number 2 and 3 teams in their division that are just stepping a step down from you, and then you have the number 1 team from another division for the Ravens, for the Rams, and then also for the Seahawks, you got to play the Cowboys, which are the number 1 team right now in the NFC. So it's tough.
That is a super tough, but that's going to make that division race really fun. And so it's going to be fun to see how that one plays out. All right, we're going to go to another Tim OMFL mailbag news. And then we're going to open up the OMFL mailbag before we open up our question of the day. So, Mr. Tim, take us away.
Welcome back to the OMFL News. In this section, I was able to sit down with Jay Bowles of the 10-2 Las Vegas Raiders, and I asked him, what is the key to your success this season? He says, I think success comes from the defense this season. I've been able to get key stops in critical situations. I've always been able to put up a lot of points, so being able to get key stops on defense helps you win a lot of games. I also asked, with the changes in the division from previous bends, what are the challenges you see? He says, I think we've always had tough owners in the division, but having Randy, the previous bowl champion, definitely adds tougher matchups to the division. Always nice to add new blood to the division for sure. I also asked him about Trey, since he won 2 games against Trey this season and opened a lot of people's eyes with those wins. And he says, Trey is always tough. He's always been a force in the league, and when he is confident, he's hard to beat. I've been able to contain him a little bit, but as you can see, both our games were close. Barely beat him a second time on a last-second field goal. Interesting. What are your guys' thoughts? Back to you, Nate.
That was awesome, Tim. Thank you. I thought that was a cool twist in the OMFL news to do a little interview. I appreciate Tim for doing some OMFL news. I love it, man. He also does Tim Takes live, which is always a lot of fun. And I just appreciate Tim. There's also a new commercial coming out with Tim. So tune into the streams and you'll see those. All right, let's open up the OMFL mailbag and do our question before we get out of here, Mr. Maniac. I think my voice has had all I can take. And I'm sorry, you guys have had all you can do to listen to it. Also, I'm just to say about mailbag, Randy, Dwayne, Trey, Nicesonger, my ex OMFL Press Pass Live co-host. I'm looking at you for my missing questions here. I don't even get y'all to look at the mailbag anymore. So get your butts back over there. But Cincyberg says, is this a good year to be looking for an import? Imports are always questions I'm expecting to get right now. I don't know that there's ever a good answer. It really, for me, it just depends on what my team does. Number one, what team am I going to have? For a lot of us, it's the team we currently have. But what does my team do in the NFL? And then how does the NFL rate those players? Because sometimes NFL can be real hard on those NFL imports. A lot harder on them, or the NFL rookies, than they are on their own generated NFL players that happen.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends. But when you start thinking about imports, is this when you start to think about it, or how do you view imports?
For me, it's just, I have to keep it in mind that it could be. The only problem you run in with, because a lot of times, you'll find a rookie that you'll draft at this point in stage. It's like, say, 23 years old. Maybe even sometimes a rookie will be 24, but they've got great stats and you can't pass them up and you draft them here. The import life, by the time we're done with this Madden, that's going to be an old man, in Madden terms. So, and not worthy of an import. But, sometimes you find those guys that are 21 and they're absolute beast. Then you start going, okay, this guy might be a guy that I want to bring over and continue his legacy into the next Madden because, he's got longevity. And then by then, we all know that the younger guys do tend to build quicker and with the settings and stuff. So those younger guys will produce those roles. And man, sometimes you can get a beast by the time you get ready to go into import mode. So I just look at it like I always keep my option open, but I don't ever go into like, oh yeah, this is the year I've got to get my import because the way the draft falls, I may only get 23-year-old and 24-year-old guys. So I definitely don't want to bring. Say if we go another 3 seasons, possibly 4. I don't know. The cycle rate right now. We're fixing to hit February, or we did hit February. So, but I just think by then, 27, 28-year-old bringing in for an import, probably not something I'm looking to do.
Yeah, I think the imports are going to be everybody gets anything. Just pick a player. Everybody gets one. If you're a platinum donating member, you'll get one somewhere between 87 and 92. I'm sort of playing with the numbers a little bit. And then if you play every game in the last season, you'll get someone 77 to 82, somewhere in there. But we are going to drop the bar just a little bit because what happened was we just introduced a ton of 99 overall players to the league. And while that just kind of skews the league a little too much. So the numbers are going to be somewhere in there. Probably more than likely, it's going to be anything 90 for platinum, 80 and below for playing the last game of the season. I might give a couple points here or there, just kind of depending on where we'll fall, but definitely something to think about. He says, Cincy Burger, the second question, do you think 3 teams from the NFC West make the playoffs? If so, then who gets left out? You and I just finished talking about it. I think after hearing that schedule, man, that is a tough schedule. It's going to come down to 49ers and Seahawks. And man, flip a coin because both of them have a really tough schedule. If I had to guess, I would probably say 49ers get left out. But man, both of those have really hard schedules.
Yeah, I don't know. Just it's either probably going to be. Realistically, I could be because right now I'm on a skid. I know my my mojo's kind of left me a little bit. 3 losses in a row. It's kind of hard to get that going again sometimes. But the only thing is, I actually have the tiebreaker on the Seahawks. I've beat him twice this season. So I do hold the tiebreaker there. And then with him having the additional game with Dwayne, the additional top schedule, I think the Seahawks are kind of prime to be left out, but uh, any three of us could falter, and I think we could be looking on the outside in, and which that will it'll be one of those situations. Whoever's left out, it's going to suck because you had a really great season, done all that you could do, and then it's just somebody's got to stay home. That's just all it is to it. Somebody's got to stay home. So
It really
it's
sucks when you look at the AFC and you're like, man, if I was over there, I'd be like the number 3 seed or whatever. Slow, thank you so much, brother. Much love. That means a lot. I appreciate you. The voice sounds terrible right now, and so the last 2 weeks we've been streaming a little bit less, but we're trying to get healthy, trying to get bounced back, and I appreciate it. I also got lots of plans for more and more content for grown folks and for Madden. I just need to hit the grind, but I also make Christian content because I'm a pastor, and so it's just like I need about 3 of me, and I need it to be my full-time job, so that's all I can do. But unfortunately, I work a full-time job, so I appreciate you. Zoe, you should not discount yourself, brother. You've had a great season, and you are battling everybody, brother. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to see how it plays out. Cincyberg on a roll here. He says Bengals, Denbrew. I like how he has to tell me who the Bengals are. Had 2 wins last season and 4 so far this season. How do you think he can get back to his winning ways? And Denbrew said, play in an offline league. And I told him to stop it right there. I will not tell Denbrew's story because it's Denbrew's story, but I would just say you never know what people are going through. And getting to hang out with Denbrew and his wife really was an awesome experience, as I think it would be if I got to hang out with any of you and your wives. I think we have a lot of really awesome people here. And yeah, I would say you never know what people are going through. And so yeah, I'm glad that Denbrew is still here. And I hope he continues to be here. I can't imagine this place without Denbrew. To get back to his winning ways, I think he just needs some space. But what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know the situation, so definitely prayers go out to him but I know Denbrew. Once he's on, there is not anybody in this league that is more competitive and harder to play than Mr. Denbrew, because he's one of those guys that you feel like he is like sitting next to you, watching you push your button on what play you're going to play. It's like I've played him so many times in last Madden. We had a couple really great battles in the playoffs, and it's like, okay, I've got this play, and I probably only ran it like twice the entire season, and I'm thinking like, okay, I've watched film and I see him. He always had this tendency to go over here. And
Bill said, looking at the standings after 13 plus weeks in the season. Bill, it's apparent that the NFC once again is more dominant conference than the OMFL. Does the league look to move some coaches from the NFC to the NFC to balance out the competition? Bill, you know the answer to that, you jerk. It is no. I don't look to ever move people. I let people move themselves. I always said, though, we would never do it because I want people to have their favorite teams. But it would be fun to sort of have a soccer style concept where the bottom, I don't even know what the number is, the bottom 3 coaches or any coach that loses or wins less than 3 games a season goes into a bucket and has to pick a new team. If there's only 1 team, then you get to keep your team. But if there's 2, you got to swap. If there's 3, we do a small draft. It would never, ever happen, but I thought that would be a really neat, cool concept to do. My guy, Lost Sniper, shout out to him. Did some thinking or some chat GPT, and I don't know what he did, but threw a bunch of random ideas to do for the last season out. I thought all of them were a little too powerful, but he was looking at some ways to sort of make things interesting. I don't know. I've always thought that was a neat concept, but would never do it because I don't know. I just feel bad about forcing guys to leave their favorite team. What do you think? NFC, AFC?
I think this is the conversation we've had before that, and not picking on Denbrew, but Denbrew is always like, put some respect on us. He's always talking about,
You're
don't
right,
be disrespecting the AFC. So it's one of those things though. like, we talk about this and we look at the AFC and how it's like looks, inferior to the NFC right now, but it don't take nothing, and all of a sudden we're in the bowl game, and one of these
Yeah.
AFC teams are actually fixing to win the bowl
Yeah.
game. That's just how crazy it can happen. So, but I think it's a curious concept. I guess I say curious. It's a curious concept, but like you were saying, don't force guys, but maybe put out. There may be some guys that are on lower teams. Like what I want to change the scenery, and guess what? I don't really want to know where I want to go, but hey, you do law averages or whatever, and take a chance and do something crazy. So
Yeah.
maybe that'd be something to look at.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
trying to
it's
keep my
something
cat from
like,
jumping up here.
again, I could never force any of this, but I love thinking about neat ideas that you could do of like, if you go back-to-back seasons with 3 wins or less, then you have to give up your team to somebody else. And I don't know. It's just be an interesting concept to kind of toss out there. Then Bill followed up and said, as a follow-up, how many guys do you think will hate me? You laughed at that, and Little Koch said, get a load of this guy. I think at least 12. There's at least going to be almost half the guys that are going to hate you for that one, Bill.
Yeah. I don't think he would be the most popular guy on the Discord after that. Which there, I will say, tongue in cheek, that Bill is not the most popular guy.
He's not the most popular guy anyway. So what's he care? And I hear he's a big, tall dude. So I'm really nervous about ever getting to meet him. That's going to be it for the mailbag. Again, calling out my old buddies who used to help me out with the show. You guys don't even look at the mailbag anymore. I'm looking at you to help get that mailbag, which has been really bad this season. The mailbag has been really, really low. All right, we're going to go to one quick commercial break. When we come back, we got a question of the day, and then I'm going to make Maniac talk about his new league, because it's been fun to watch those streams pop up, even though I seen one of them was named Ice, which is probably not the greatest name to ever have right now in today's world. All right, we'll be right back.
Turf toe make you miss a kick, pulled hamstring snuff out your tush push, or emotional trauma from a drop pass costing you an OMFL bowl? Here at the Bull Medical Facility, we treat real injuries, the ones you think you got while playing beer league football. Whether you strained your eyes looking for your speed wide receiver, or a muscle cramp slamming on those hit sticks, or even the rare case of chokitis like me, we've got you covered. Bull Medical Facility, pro care for your not so pro pain. Just ask for Dr. Vikes MD.
I can't wait to get Tim's commercial ready to go and let everybody see that. This voice has absolutely kicked the bucket, Maniac. All right, give me our last question of the day. I asked you, trying to do something fun and different. Also, I'm going to poke at my friend Maniac. He's got good ideas. You got to start giving me some good ideas here for Press Pass Live. If you could take anybody out for dinner, who would you take and why? In the OMFL, that is. Anybody in the OMFL?
That's like anybody. Well, man, there's a lot of you guys that I would love to meet for dinner. I know Big Hurt. He comes because we've always
It's going to be an
always
expensive
seemed like
dinner.
we're either.
I bet you that boy can put away some food.
Yeah, I can too. I've done better though over the last year though, so I'm cutting back. I only eat 2 plates instead of 3. So but no, Big Hurt. Because we're always playing. We either play hockey, which we haven't played hockey in a while. That game has got some major issues with some cheaters, but um, and then there's, I would love to meet Dwayne. Because we're kind of both southern folks. I'm raising some livestock. He raised livestock.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think he'd be a great dude to just chat with. And plus, we the 2 guys I just mentioned are Cowboy fans. So we definitely have something to talk about. But to keep this from being like too long, the first person I would go to would be you, man. I want to meet up with you because we've had such a long history so far, and it's been, we've had our ups and downs, but I think we've had our more ups, and I call you friend, man, and I really do. Um and I would love to just hang out and be able to, share a meal and just have fun and talk, the same we have right here, chew the fat, so but that would be what my ultimate goal would be,
Such a
to do that.
Texas state. Chew the fat. I'll chew the fat as long as it's not on my steak. I'm a snake style. I ain't chewing no fat. It's got to be a fillet or something. I totally agree. I look forward to the day that I don't play the lotto, but my father-in-law does. So if he ever wins the lotto, we're gonna have a grown folks / OMFL weekend somewhere, and I'm just going to fly everybody in, and we'll all get to meet and have our wives and families hang out.
That'd be awesome.
I'd love to meet everybody. The guys that I've already gotten to meet, excuse me, were amazing. Of course, the board. I think the board's amazing. I think there's just some awesome people. Maniac, Lost, Dwayne. I've already got to meet Denver. Little Koch, I think, would be just great. Like all the guys there. I'm going to leave somebody out.
Lot.
And there's not anybody in the OFL wouldn't want to hang out with and meet.
No.
I think if I had to pick somebody and to pick about somebody that maybe people wouldn't think about, it'd be Shocks. He just seems like the sweetest, kindest, nicest guy. I think we'd immediately hit it off, and he's the kind of guy that you're like,
Yeah.
man, I wish this guy was my buddy that lived really close. But I really could say that about everybody. There's not anybody I wouldn't want to meet up with and hang out with. There's probably some guys here that would not want to hang out with me, but there's definitely some guys I would like to hang out with. Just nice hunger. I could go through everybody. There's a few guys I don't know really well, like Twinkie. I just don't know. I don't get a lot of time with him. Rod, he's still really new. Our Tennessee and Bill in New York. There's some guys pretty new that I just don't know very well, but I'd love to meet up with anybody, some really, really good humans around here. All right, Maniac, as we close the door here on another Press Pass Live, and I give this voice a break, tell everybody about the OMFL Custom. And before we do, we got a chat in the message from Denver himself. He says, am I going to have to call in and defend the AFC? Well, yeah, as long as you have losing records making the wild card, you will have to defend the AFC, Mr. Denbrew. But close it out, Maniac, telling everybody about OMFL Custom.
Yeah, so we started up the Fun League. Afro Trace Friend is really good at designing logos and different things that he's done for NHL. NHL kind of has some similar things like this, but and we got to talking several months ago. We wanted to do a custom league, and I kind of told you about it, and you said, yeah, just let me know what you need, and so we actually got a list of guys that wanted to join, and the cool thing about it was the guys that wanted to join said, just come up with a team. So like my team is Maverick Texas Mustangs. So it's just kind of a kind of fantasy type teams, and we've got some very unique teams. So if you tune in and watch some of those, we've got like the Sacramento Mighty Mallards. It's some really cool teams, and it kind of adds some fun depth to the Madden. I know sometimes it gets monotonous and stuff, but this has kind of added us a different level. And so, but all these guys have joined up, and we've got some really cool teams. And the Ice team is actually the Ice Cats. So I don't. They're not named after ice, but the Winter Cats. Maybe that's what we should have named them. But anyway, that's. But we've got each division has two owners. We've got some open teams. If guys, if you find yourself you don't have nothing to do, send me a message. Jay Bouse today actually was one and said, hey, it looks kind of fun. You got teams? I was like, yes, we got teams. So he picked the Arizona Fire Ants. So nice. He's gonna be the Fire Ant. So anyway, it's kind of neat. It's different and just adds a new flavor, a new level to to the league atmosphere, and so far guys are having fun. We had a fantasy draft to go along with it. That was murder.
Yeah,
But we did a pause draft for 2 days, and then the night of each of those days we had a couple hours where we live draft. So that was how we got around that and stuff. It was fun. It was neat because I mean, you own the team you build. You own. Some of the guys didn't. They just let the CPU build it, and I think they probably did a better job than some of us guys that were able to pick most of our picks. So, but the team that you have, the team is the team you built, and you own it. So, and you got to build from there. So, but anyway, it's fun, and we're fixing to start up the regular season. We're finishing up preseason, and we're playing. And so far, the guys seem to be having fun with it. So it's different. So if you see us streaming, just hop on in and say hello. And again, like you said, if you want to just something fun, like we're just kind of leaving it casual and fun, and we're using the OMFL gameplay rules. It's kind of a little different since we have CPU teams, with all the off season stuff. So we're kind of making up some rules there for that. But overall, it's just the emphasis on just having a good time, fun, and enjoy having these different type teams.
I love it. Priest also running the coach league. So it's a coach mode lead here. Big Hurt took over OMFL, the Deuce, just to finish it out this cycle. And then it'll go back to you next cycle. And then we got the OMFL Custom. So there's like a lot of different options. We also have an old friend rejoin the server here today. John used to play in the OMFL many years ago, and he plays NBA 2K now, and he was looking at our 2K league, and I just told him that we definitely have guys that play, but we just have never had a leader for it to kind of get it going and keep it going. So he told me today that he's going to do something, and he showed me a logo that he had created for it. It's amazing. The Grown Folks Pro and Am NBA 2K League. And so we're going to make an announcement in the main chat today about that. That chat's already up. You can add that role and get going. Super sick logo that he had made. So I'll get him to post his logo. Should be a ton of fun. So a lot of options. I like to, even though my buddy Pooty does not watch my football streams, does not support my football streams, does not watch the OMFL, he's not a fan of the role or any of that stuff. I still like supporting him in shooters and enjoy playing the shooters with them. Got to stream a little bit of that last night. I kind of wish I didn't though, so I go play in some of these other football leagues. There's a lot of fun things to get involved with. So a lot of things to get involved here in Grown Folks, and I appreciate all the guys who help lead those things. All right. I'm sick of hearing me, so I appreciate all of you for hanging out. Thank you, Maniac, for pushing through, even though you weren't feeling well today. And my wife is here home sick today, so she's not feeling well. It's going around. Protect yourselves, protect your family. Shout out to Bill, his message in the main chat about his daughter. I don't know if he wants me blasting that out on the stream, but congrats to her getting some absolutely super cool commitments from D3 schools to go play lacrosse. 4.0 GPA student. So congrats to Bill and his daughter.
Wow.
I feel like we've pseudo watched her from afar grow up in our chats as he has bragged on all the things that she's gotten to do. So thank you guys. I'm getting out of here. I love you. Take care of yourselves. Come join me tonight if I am streaming. I'm sure I will be. We'll see you tonight. Thank you, Maniac. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yes, sir. Deuces.
Smash that like and subscribe.